And yay, it's already working. So we know it's going to work. So today we are going to start on our backs. So if you guys want to go ahead and lie down. We're going to bend our knees and just place our feet on the mat about hip width apart. And then if you just let your knees fall in together, just so that way everything is resting. And as we lay here in this position, just go ahead and notice the quality of your breath. Just taking a few minutes, checking in. A lot of times as we notice things, it automatically kind of changes those things. Noticing also your body and what's happening for you. As you're lying here in this position, if there's any tension in certain places, or maybe you're feeling really relaxed today, just kind of breathing into those spaces and allowing those calm, relaxed spaces to grow in your body. And then just kind of stay with that breath. Allow those things to kind of bubble up inside of you that need to. And then the encouragement for today is to focus on your intention for today. So what is that intention for you? The reason that you showed up today, the reason that you came. Checking in with that intention. We're going to go ahead and heel toe our feet together so that way the soles of the feet come together and allow our knees to open up into reclined butterfly pose or reclined bound ankle. There's a couple different names for this pose. As always, if you need to roll up a blanket or grab a pillow or something under, for support underneath your knees, feel free to do that. And I'm going to encourage you to take your fingertips to your belly space. And that way you can actually feel your belly expand. Feel your belly soften as you exhale. Those hands are resting on your belly, and so they're not pressing down, but there's movement and flexibility that's still there. Again, just taking those expansive breaths. Allowing the inside of the thigh to stretch open. Finding your rhythm of your breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and open up the arms to either side like wings. And then we're very gently going to take that right knee, moving it toward the center, and then stacking it on top of that left knee. Your knees may not come together, and that's okay. Or if you need to, again, grab a pillow or something to kind of put underneath both of your knees to create a little bit more accessibility for you in this, that's fine. Checking in with your shoulders, that those are down away from your ears. Again, finding the rhythm of your breath today. And then taking that right knee, opening it all the way, coming back to center for a moment. Reminding yourself of your intention here. As I mentioned earlier this morning, we are doing a slow flow today. So we're trying to slow everything way down. Trying to see what comes up to the surface for us. When you're ready, you start to bring that left knee toward the center and then stack that on top of your right knee. Again, if your knees don't come all the way together, that's just fine. Thinking about how we had our fingertips on our bellies and how expansive our breathing was. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and bring those knees back to center. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and take the right leg back to butterfly. So the left knee is up and the right leg is down. And then when you're ready, we're going to take that right knee back to the center and then allow that left knee to come down. Take one more deep breath, and then we're going to bring that left knee up. We're going to heel toe our feet out as wide as the mat and allow those knees to fall against each other again. If you'd like to return your arms down to your sides or to your belly, you're welcome to do that. And let me open us with a prayer. It says, God, we thank you that you welcome us into the warmth and safety of your presence. With every breath we take, you invite us to recognize you as the source of all that we can hope, dream, and achieve. We know, God, that your presence of your Holy Spirit is abiding. Captivate us this morning with your peace and your presence. So when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and roll to one side, creating a little pillow for our heads here. And then we're going to do some arm circles. So the top arm comes straight out in front of us, and we're going to try to keep our fingertips as much on the mat as possible, but we're just going to draw some big circles, also recognizing it's not possible to keep our fingertips on the mat all the time. Unless maybe you're double jointed or something, I don't know. But doing maybe 5 or 6 of those really big, slow circles. Continuing to breathe deeply as you do so. And then once you're done with those, bringing that arm back in for a little bit of support. You're going to take that top knee and put it on the mat and then extend the lower leg. You're going to take that support hand, draw it behind your body, and getting a nice reclined spinal twist here. Opening up that shoulder, supporting your head with your hand if you need to. And coming back to that side. We're going to go ahead and slide those knees back together. Roll over to the other side. I'm going to spin around here. And still face you all. And taking that top arm out and then drawing those big, slow circles all the way around. I'm doing that like 5 or 6 times. And to match your breath to the rhythm of your movements. Slow flow today. And once you've done your 5 or 6 of your arm circles, then you can go ahead and draw that arm back in towards your body for a little bit of support. You take that top knee down, extend the lower leg, and then reach behind you. Again, coming into a gentle spinal twist. Taking a few deep breaths. And then reaching back in front of you, taking both knees together. We're going to go ahead and gently push ourselves up into a seated position. Coming into a simple seated pose with one leg in front and the other behind. We're going to place our hands on the mat and then walk or round down. And if you need to, you can always find a little bit of movement here. So if you want to rock from side to side, or if there's a different position that's more comfortable for you, feel free to do that. Continuing to breathe slowly. And then walking those hands back to center, switching whichever leg is in front. And then returning those hands to the mat, and then rounding down or walking those hands forward. Again, finding a little bit of movement if you would like in this pose. There's a book that's called The Power of Habit. I think it's by Charles Duhigg or something like that. And he talks about how habits we so often categorize our habits, right? And he says it's just something that our brain does, but we have to understand our habits in order to be able to change those habits. And he says habits actually create space for us to be able to do other things. It's the efficiency of our brain, just coming in to help us. So part of our process often is that we're searching for that feel-good experience, because that is what our brains kind of want to do naturally. Come back to center and then walk those hands back towards your body. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together, coming into seated butterfly pose here. Feel free to fold forward or to bounce your knees as you feel comfortable. And so one of the things that he talks about is feel good doesn't equal good for me. And also uncomfortable doesn't equal dangerous. And so oftentimes those are kind of the two places that these kind of automated, unexamined habits in our lives get us to. And so then our intention and our attention and our noticing helps us to kind of come back to a better sense of balance between those two things. So that's what we're trying to find a little bit of today, is just a little bit of balance. When we're ready, we're going to go ahead and round ourselves up, taking those knees together, extending those legs down in front of us, sitting nice and tall. We're going to inhale, both arms up, palms together, exhale to heart center. One more time, inhale, arms up, palms together, exhale to heart center. Then go ahead and release those arms down to your thighs. We're going to start to tuck our chins. First, we're just going to do a couple of neck stretches here, and then we'll take this a little deeper. Always recognizing that you have the choice in this moment as to how much sensation you feel in your body. So you can choose to go a little deeper or choose to back off. When you're ready, you can go ahead and take that left ear to left shoulder, opening up the side neck. And tuck that chin down to chest again. This time rolling the right ear to the right shoulder and opening up that side neck. And then go ahead and take that chin back down to your chest. This time, walking those hands forward slightly and around and down with your shoulders for caterpillar pose. Keeping that chin tucked, stretching out all the little muscles in your neck and shoulders, in your upper and mid back. And then when you're ready, go ahead and start to walk those hands back and unroll yourself here. We're going to go ahead and take our left leg out to the side and draw the right leg in. Turning toward that long leg, we're going to bend forward over the top of it. See if you can reach that right arm forward just a little further to also stretch out that side body. And then walking those hands back to center, we're going to switch sides. So drawing that left leg in, the right leg out. Turning toward that long leg and then walking those hands forward as you round down. One of the things that I was thinking about as I was thinking about slow flow stuff is different animals in the animal kingdom that are just notoriously slow and how their experience of life is not diminished because they're slow. How, sometimes it's absolutely necessary to slow down and to notice all the little things around us. Go ahead and reach that left hand out just a little further if you can, stretching out that side body. Sloths are notoriously slow, so that's kind of where my mind goes first, of course. When you're ready, you can start to walk your hands back to center and bring that leg in. We're going to turn toward the left edge here, taking our feet to the mat and do a little balancing posture here. So we're going to take our toes to the mat first, and we're going to bring our hands to the front side of our knees. And then we're going to lean back onto our tailbone. And if you can, you're going to take your toes up off of the mat. And you can do this in whatever way you want to. If you want to bring those knees in really tight to your chest and do your balancing posture that way, or if you want to come into boat pose and bring your feet all the way up, it's really up to you. Just balancing on those sits bones for a moment. And releasing that down to the mat. Go ahead and extend those legs out and then roll yourself all the way down again. This time keeping arms up overhead, toes to one wall, fingers to the opposite wall as you inhale. And then exhale those arms down to either side. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up overhead. And then exhale those arms down. And here we're going to roll over onto our belly. We're just going to be doing lots of rolling around today. Now we're I'm gonna start with my left arm, making like a little pillow for my head, and then stretching that right hand out to the side. We're gonna bring our right knee up to the side as well. Pausing here in this position, focusing in on your low back space, intentionally breathing into that low back space. Releasing anything you might feel there in terms of tension or tightness or stiffness. And drawing that right hand in underneath your shoulder, we're going to take the hand that's underneath your head and take that straight out to the side and then press the ground away from you. Get a really nice stretch on the front side of that shoulder. So your left arm is straight out to the side. Your right arm is underneath your shoulder and then pressing the ground away from you. And then releasing that back down. So you're bringing that left arm back underneath your head once more, extending that right arm straight out from you. Pausing again to focus in on that low back space. And then from here, we're going to draw that right arm in. We're going to, how do I explain this? You can do whatever you want to do with your left arm here. I'll show you what we're doing, and then you guys can mimic it. We're going to press the ground away from us, turning over, so that way this foot is still staying on the ground, but then both arms come out to either side. So like I said, we're rolling around on the ground today.
Are your hips stacked or is your...
They are stacked. So it's almost like if, we do this sometimes, this pose, it's just like we got into this pose a little bit differently, and then our bottom leg is straight.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And I don't know if it does.
I think, well,
Yeah, you got it.
okay.
Yes. So then we're rolling back onto our tummies once more. We're just going to go ahead and bring everything back down. We're going to take the other side. So we're taking that right arm underneath our head, extending that left hand straight out, bringing the left knee up to the side. Again, we're focusing in on that low back space here. Then drawing that left hand in underneath your shoulder. We're taking that right arm straight out from our side. And then pressing the mat away from us. You want to add a little deeper stretch, you can actually go ahead and bend this right arm. And feel that a little bit deeper in the front shoulder. And then releasing that back down to the mat, taking that right arm back underneath your head, and the left arm straight out once again from your body. And then taking that left hand underneath your shoulder again. And this time we're reaching through with that right arm, and turning, and then allowing the left foot to come down to the mat as we extend both arms out to either side. After one more deep breath, then we'll roll back to our tummies. So then coming back onto our bellies, we're going to take both hands underneath our shoulders once again and just lift into a little low cobra. Keeping those elbows in towards our bodies. And we're going to go ahead and release down, inhale and tuck the toes, and then press up into your choice of modified plank or full plank. From here, you're going to walk your hands back towards your feet, placing the soles of your feet on the mat. You need to keep a bend here in your knees. Feel free to do that. From here, we're going to walk those hands back forward, this time stepping our left foot forward in between those two front hands. See if you can stretch into the back heel, stretching out the back calf muscle. And go ahead and start to step that left foot back to meet the right foot, walking those hands back towards your feet once more for a forward fold. Once again, walking those hands forward, we're coming back towards our full plank here and sliding the right knee up between those two front hands, allowing the legs to come all the way down to the mat and folding forward over top of that front knee. So again, checking in here with your breath, with your intention for today. Checking in with those thought processes. Making sure we're not living in one extreme or the other, but coming back to that greater balance. Slowing everything down, creating a little space in our brains. And then when you're ready, you can start to walk yourself back up onto those palms, tuck the back toes, lift the back leg and step that right foot back, and walking those hands back towards your feet for another forward fold. When you're ready, we can start to walk our hands forward once more, this time stepping the right foot forward between those two front hands. See if you can stretch into that back heel, so that way you're getting a nice stretch along your calf muscle. Taking another deep breath here. And stepping that right foot back to meet the left, walking those hands back towards your feet once more for another forward fold. Then one more time, walking those hands forward, coming into our full plank and sliding the left knee forward, releasing those legs down to the mat, and then folding forward over top of that front knee. So one of the reflection questions that I have written down for us to consider today is as we look at our habits or as we look at those behaviors, asking ourselves, what am I getting from this behavior? What am I getting from this behavior? So whatever habit it is that you're considering today, asking yourself that question. When you're ready, you can start to walk yourself back up onto those palms, tuck the back toes, lift the back legs, step back with the left foot, and then walk those hands once more back towards your feet. Coming into a forward fold at the back of your mat. And bend your knees deeply, placing your hands on your knees. We're going to very slowly round ourselves up. Head is the last thing that comes into place. And then we're going to move into our balancing postures for today. So if you need to move toward a wall or a chair, feel free to do that. And we're going to start with a chair pose today. So I'm going to encourage you to start with your feet hip width apart, making sure that you're feeling really nice and grounded. And then we're going to go ahead and start to shift our hips back and then down. So your knees are not jutting out over top of your feet. You should still be able to see your toes. Your back should be nice and elongated. And then if you like, you can bring your hands out in front of you. This is a way to create a lot of heat in your body real quick because we're using all of those really big muscles. And if you can, think about raising that right foot and then lower that down and then raise the left if you can and lower that down, and then let's stand up out of that pose. And now we're going to go ahead and shift our weight to our left foot, bringing that right ankle over top of the left knee for figure 4 pose. And if this is enough for you today, then feel free to stay here. And if you want a little added challenge, we're going to draw our hands to heart center. We're going to shift those hips back, coming into figure 4 pose as we lower down into chair. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and stand up out of that pose. Returning back to center, kind of shaking out or rotating that other leg if you need to. And starting at center. Shifting those hips back. We're going to go ahead and bend our knees deeply, bringing our hands up into chair pose. Then raising one heel. Maintaining our balance if we can, lowering that down, raising the other, lowering that down, and then standing up out of that pose. When we're ready, we're going to shift our weight to that right leg, taking the left ankle, crossing over the top of the knee. And then again, from here, if you would like, you can stay, or you can bring your hands to heart center. Start to shift your hips back. You might notice your breath is changing to accommodate all of the oxygen that your body is using to balance and utilize those really big stabilizing muscles. When you're ready, you can go ahead and stand up out of that. And then again, shake out or rotate that other foot. We did it. We did the balancing part. So we're going to come back down to the mat. You're going to come onto your backs once more. And from here, we're gonna go ahead and take our feet to the mat. We're drawing our arms down alongside our bodies, shifting our shoulders down away from our ears. So you can get your heels as close to your body as you possibly can. Then pressing your feet into the mat, start to peel that spine up off the mat, coming into bridge pose. Drawing an angle from your knees to your hips, to your shoulders. And then when you're ready, coming down one vertebrae at a time. Go ahead and draw those knees into your chest and then rock back and forth across that low back. When you're ready, we're going to come back to center, taking our hands behind our knees. We're going to rock ourselves up into boat pose. So you're going to either come all the way up here and then draw your arms parallel to the floor and then lean back into boat pose and then bring one leg up at a time or bring both legs up at a time. Or if you can rock straight up into boat pose and that's comfortable for you, then great. We're engaging that core. And then we're tucking those knees into our chest and rocking back down, placing the feet on the mat once more. And this time allowing the feet to come a little further out from the body. We're going to go ahead and draw those arms down alongside our bodies, checking with our shoulders once more, pressing our feet into the mat, lifting those hips up toward the ceiling. Again, your feet are a little further away from your body, so you're going to feel this in a different part of your hamstring than when you did the first one. Again, slow flow today. So really big, deep breaths. Checking in with our intention again. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and come down one vertebrae at a time. Drawing those knees into your center, rocking back and forth across that low back. And coming back to center, tucking those hands behind your knees, and then rocking yourself up into boat pose once more. Or coming into a modified version of it. Again, engaging your core. Then tucking those hands behind the knees and rounding yourself down, placing those feet back on the mat. Let's heel toe those feet out as wide as the mat and then drop one knee down in toward the center for a moment. And drawing that knee back up, taking the other knee down toward the center. And then taking that knee back up, heel toeing our feet back together. This time drawing the feet away from the body a little bit further. So we were really close to start and then we came just a little bit further away and now we are at our furthest point away from our body that we can with our knees still being bent and able to do a bridge pose. So again, checking with your shoulders, so down away from your ears, your palms are pressing into the mat next to you for a little bit of support. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and lift those hips up toward the ceiling. Again, you're going to feel this in a different part of your hamstrings. You might notice that you feel like you have to engage your core more in one of these poses than in others. One more deep breath. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and come down one vertebrae at a time and drawing those knees into your chest once more, rocking back and forth across that low back space. From here, we're going to come back to center. I'm going to invite you to take the outside edges of your feet and then open those feet up toward the ceiling as you draw your knees down to the mat for happy baby pose. As always, if this is uncomfortable for you, you can always take a different position. Or you could come over and do a child's pose on your mat. Really releasing any tension you feel in your hips and in your low back space. And then release those feet all the way down to the mat. Go ahead and take that right foot up toward the ceiling and then cross that ankle over top of the left knee, drawing those legs in toward your chest for reclined pigeon pose. And then here, if you like, you can start to rock from side to side. Taking some deep breaths again. Coming back to center. If you'd like, you can go ahead and extend your arms out to either side. We're going to keep the low body the way it is. And then we're going to drop that off to the left-hand side. Coming into a deeper expression of this pose that we tried to do earlier today. Checking in with our meditation about habits today, about the extremes that we can sometimes fall into, and about the question that we're asking ourselves, what am I getting out of this behavior? When you're ready, you're going to go ahead and draw that back to center. Release those arms and then release those feet all the way down to the mat. Finding your neutral spine position again, go ahead and take that left foot straight up and then cross that over top of that right knee, drawing those legs in toward your chest. And then again, we're going to rock back and forth if you would like, from side to side. Again, only going as far as feels comfortable to you. And then coming back to center, go ahead and release those arms all the way down to the mat if you would like, and then drop those legs off to the right side. Continue to check in with your breath and with your intention. And when you're ready, drawing that back to center. Go ahead and release those arms and then also release those legs all the way down to the mat. Heel toe those soles of your feet together and allow the knees to fall open once more. If you'd like, you can bring your palms to the outside of those thighs so that way you can have a little bit of support in this pose. Staying here for probably 5 to 10 breaths. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to bring those knees together once more. Bringing the soles of the feet back to the mat. We're going to go ahead and take those knees into our chest and put our hands behind our knees to rock ourselves up once more into a seated pose, or you can roll to one side. We're going to face the long edge of the mat, this time coming into a wide open A pose. We're going to lift our arms up as we inhale. Palms together, exhale down to heart center. Keep exhaling, bring those palms all the way down to the mat and lean forward slightly. The other notes that I have here for today, after that reflective question of what am I getting from this behavior? I have notes in here that talk about how sometimes in order to get out of one of those extremes, we talked about how feel good doesn't always equal good for me and uncomfortable doesn't always equal dangerous. And so asking ourselves, what am I getting from this behavior when I'm in one of those extremes that can help us come to the center. But another thing that can help us come to the center is feeding our brain new information. So learning to use awareness and teach our brain that not everything uncomfortable is dangerous, or not everything that feels good is good for me. Using that awareness and that kindness and self-compassion to kind of rewire our brain and just take a look at those behaviors, whatever it is, whether it's anxiety or avoidance or regret or these just these loops or spirals that we can get into, just considering those things and being compassionate with ourselves. When you're ready, you can walk your hands back to center. We're going to go ahead and slide those legs together, and then we're going to shake out those legs. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and fold those legs in for a simple seated pose once more. And then to close today, we're going to stay in our simple seated pose for a few minutes of quiet. And then I'll close this out. When you're ready, you can start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes if you would like. Maybe do some gentle wrist rolls, one direction and then the other. And rest those hands down on your legs and do some shoulder rolls. Just nice and slow. First one direction and then the other. And then let those shoulders settle down away from your ears. Tuck your chin. Roll left ear to the left shoulder. And then back down again. And then to the other side. Right ear to right shoulder. And down again. Going from side to side. Making that motion as big or as small as you would like. And when you're ready, coming back to center, releasing the head, and then either taking your hands to heart center or open on your knees or in some other posture. Let me close this with this prayer again. God, we thank you that you welcome us into the warmth and safety of your presence. That with every breath we take, you invite us to recognize you as the source of all that we can hope, dream, and achieve. So God, we go in your presence, we go in your peace. Thank you for the way that you've created our brains to be efficient, but also the fact that you have given us awareness and self-compassion to be able to draw those beautiful brains back into balance when we find ourselves in the extremes. So we love you, and it's in your name we pray.
Thanks, Audrey.
Hey guys.